Last class we discussed about how we can use the accounting method of analysis for performing amortized analysis on a k-bit binary counter. In the accounting method, we are allowed to pre-assign amortized cost of operations so that the necessary and sufficient condition for the correctness is followed or observed by the pre-assignment. Today we are going to discuss about a new method of analysis using the accounting method itself, and the method that we are going to discuss today is called the potential method for doing the amortized analysis on a data structure. The basic difference here is that the total credit in this case is going to be maintained as the potential of the data structure as a whole. Maybe the stack data structure or the k-bit counter. If you recall, in the basic accounting method, the credit was assigned to the objects in the data structure, like the number of ones in the k-bit counter or the number of elements in the stack. That is what we did. But today we are going to discuss about potential method, where the cumulative credit will be assigned to the data structure as a whole. So the topic for today is potential method for doing amortized analysis. Before we see what is this method, let us recollect what we have to do for amortized analysis on a data structure. Let S be a finite sequence of n operations on a data structure with the actual cost of these operations assumed as C1 for O1, C2 for O2, etc. So we know that the total actual cost of performing this sequence of operations will be this, given that Ci is the actual cost of the ith operation. This is what we already know. And the basic objective of an amortized analysis is to find the total worst case complexity of a sequence of n operations on a data structure. So in the worst case, what will be the total cost? That is what we have to estimate, and that is the objective. And we know that unlike the aggregate method, accounting method and hence the potential method allows you to assign different amortized costs for different operations in the data structure. For example, you can say the amortized cost of push operation is 2 and pop operation is 0, that is allowed. And just like in accounting method, in this method also operations can be overcharged or undercharged. I think you remember, when is it called overcharged? When the amortized cost assigned is more than the actual cost. If it is less, then it is undercharged. And the prepaid cost in this case is maintained as a potential of the data structure as a whole, and that is why the method is called the potential method. Suppose the cumulative cost at a particular time instant during this sequence of operations is some time unit, say n time units, then n is considered as the potential of the data structure. It could be the stack or the k-bit binary counter. Okay, so this is the basics about the method. When we proceed, the examples can make it more clear. Now we can see how a potential method works. So basically what we discussed is that potential method is a kind of accounting method. So we need to account or maintain the cumulative credit available at any point of time during the execution of a sequence of n operations on a data structure. And the difference that we saw when compared to the basic accounting method is that here the cumulative credit will be assigned to the data structure rather than assigning credits to the objects in a data structure. That is the only difference that we saw till now. And we can see when you perform this method, what is the other difference. Okay. So how it works? Suppose you start the execution on a data structure. Before you perform the first operation, you say that your data structure instance is D0, the data structure in the 0th instance. For example, if you look at the stack, this is the empty stack before performing the first operation. Now suppose you perform an operation on the stack. It must be a push because you cannot do a pop or multi-pop on an empty stack. So in that particular example, this must be push. So what will be the new instance of the stack? It will be the instance where one element is present in the stack. So that is D1. Now we generalize. After that, on the second instance, you are performing the second operation coming to the next instance, and likewise you can proceed. And then if you look at the sequence of instances produced by the sequence of n operations, then this you can consider like this. So these are the sequence of n plus 1 instances, where D0 is the instance before performing the first operation and Di is the instance after performing the ith operation in the sequence, that is Oi. Now you can define the potential of an instance. Actually you are going to assign the cumulative credit to each instance of the data structure. So that will be defined as a function from instance to a real number, where D is the set of all instances D0, D1, etc. Okay, this is the main difference when compared to the basic accounting method. So a potential, the potential is a function, mathematical function, which assigns a real number to every instance. Okay, we can see examples, and typically we will assign the potential of the initial instance, that is before performing the first operation, as 0. It's a real number. Okay, this is a typical case. And now in the potential method, the amortized cost of an operation OI is defined as, you know that the notation for amortized cost is C cap I. is defined as the actual cost of the ith operation plus the potential of the ith instance minus the potential of the I minus 1th instance. If you are looking at C2, it will be, sorry, C2 cap, it will be the actual cost of the second operation, that is C2, plus the potential of D2 minus the potential of D1. Okay, this is how it is defined. It's not a difficult definition. So, this is another difference. If you recall what we did in the basic accounting method, we directly assigned some amortized cost for every operation, and then we proved that the assignment satisfies the sufficient condition, and hence we proved that the assignments that we did for those two examples are correct. And here, unlike that, the potential function is going to take part in the definition of the amortized cost. So, the amortized cost of an operation is the actual cost plus the potential difference between the current instance and the previous instance. Okay. So, this is potential difference, and if the potential difference is positive, then the amortized cost will be the actual cost plus a positive value, and hence the operation is overcharged and the potential gets increased because the new potential is more than the previous potential of the data structure. Not that the potential is assigned to the data structure instance as a whole. In the other case, when the potential difference is negative, the operation is undercharged because it is the actual cost plus a negative value, and hence you can see that the potential of the data structure decreases in this case. Now, what will be the total amortized cost? You just find the sum of all amortized costs. So, summation I over 1 to n, this quantity, this function. Okay, you expand, this is exactly what you get. Now, suppose you expand this summation for each value of I, it looks like C1 plus potential of D1 minus potential of D0, plus when you look at C2, it is C2 plus potential of C2 minus potential of D1, likewise it goes. And if you carefully observe, you can see that these are getting cancelled, potential of D1 minus potential of D1, similarly potential of D2 minus potential of D2, similarly you will get these two cancelled, and you can observe that finally except potential of Dn and potential of D0, all others get cancelled each other. So, this function is actually the summation of actual cost plus the potential of the last instance minus the potential of the initial instance. So, that is exactly the total amortized cost. Okay, it is the total actual cost plus the potential of the last instance minus the potential of the initial instance. So, that is the total amortized cost. And we know the basic condition for the correctness of a method, and which is that the total amortized cost must be greater than or equal to the total actual cost, and for that this quantity must be non-negative, and hence you can see that to be correct the potential of the last instance must be greater than or equal to the potential of the initial instance. Then this will be a positive quantity, and the total amortized cost can be the total actual cost plus a positive quantity. So, it is correct, and otherwise it will not be correct, because if you have a negative value here, if this condition is not satisfied, then the total actual cost plus a negative value which will be less than the total actual cost. So, this is a correctness criterion. Okay. So, the potential of the last instance must be greater than or equal to the potential of the initial instance. That is the correctness requirement. But we do not know what is the value of the length of the sequence in advance. You can stop after any operation. So, basically you can have this as the condition, because you are allowed to stop after any operation. At every time the resulting can be the last sequence, the last instance in the sequence if you stop after the second operation, similarly after the ith operation. So, you can easily observe that this can guarantee the correctness. That is, if you have, this is actually a stronger condition. If you have the potential of the ith instance is greater than or equal to the potential of the initial instance for all index I in the sequence, then the correctness is followed, because then definitely when I becomes n, you have this condition, and that is exactly what we have to satisfy. So, this is the correctness condition. The potential of the ith instance is greater than or equal to the potential of the initial instance. Okay. So, that is the correctness criterion for the potential method. Now, we can proceed and see how we can perform amortized analysis on the stack data structure using potential method. We will look at a particular analysis using potential method. If you recall, we discussed about these three operations on the stack, and these are the actual cost. I hope you remember this. Now, see how will you perform a potential analysis on this. And we need to basically define a potential function for the stack such that at every time the resulting instance will have a potential value which is greater than or equal to the potential of the initial instance. So, we need to define a potential for the initial instance and also for all other instances. Let us define the potential of a stack instance as the number of objects contained in the stack. So, this is a well defined potential function. It is nothing but the number of elements on the stack. So, what is the initial instance potential? It is the number of elements in the initial stack, which is 0. Initially nothing is there. So, we defined this as 0. And what is actually potential of the ith instance for all I? It is the number of elements on the stack, and that must be greater than or equal to 0. So, the correctness criterion is met. Thus, we have the potential of the ith instance greater than or equal to the potential of the initial instance for all I in the sequence, and hence this is a correct analysis. Why? Because the total amortized cost is greater than or equal to the total actual cost, because the total amortized cost in potential method is the total actual cost plus the potential of the last instance minus the potential of the initial instance, and this we already proved that this condition is satisfied. This is greater than or equal to the initial instance, and hence the total actual cost plus a non-negative value. That means this condition is satisfied. Now, maybe we can find the amortized cost of push pop and multi pop using this method. with that we can finish this lecture. So we define the potential as the number of objects present in the stack at any point of time. So what is the amortized cost of push? It is the actual cost plus the potential difference. Now for that, suppose the ith operation is a push operation. It could be a push or a pop or a multi-pop. In every case, we have to find the amortized cost of that particular operation. Suppose the ith operation is a push, and assume that the potential of the previous element is not an assumption, it is actually defined as the number of elements. This is the length of the stack or the number of elements present in the stack before performing the ith operation, which is assumed to be a push. So this is the potential before you perform a push, that is the number of elements in the stack in the previous instance. Okay. Now you know that when you push, you will get one more element, and hence in the resulting instance the potential is one more than the potential of the previous instance. So what is the amortized cost of push, which is defined as the actual cost plus the potential difference. This is the amortized cost by definition. I hope you remember the definition. This is exactly that formula. Now we have values for all this. So substitute. You know that the actual cost of push is 1. So it is 1 plus this quantity minus this quantity. If you solve it, you can easily see that it is nothing but 2. So 2 is the amortized cost of the push operation. Now what is the amortized cost of pop? Similarly, you assume that the ith operation is going to be a pop, and the previous instance potential is the length of the stack at that point of time, and if you pop an element, the new value of the potential will be 1 less than the previous, because you popped means you have taken out an element, so the number of elements is decreased by 1. Now to find the amortized cost, you apply the formula, you just substitute the value. You know that the actual cost of pop is 1 plus this quantity for this minus this value. This S and S are getting cancelled, and 1 and 1 are also getting cancelled. So the amortized cost of pop can be obtained as 0 in this analysis. Now it remains us to find the amortized cost for multi-pop. So assume that the ith operation is multi-pop, and the previous potential is S as usual, and now you note that you are going to do a multi-pop, and the number of elements on the stack will be decreased by the minimum of these two, which I think you remember, because you have to pop k elements, which you will do if there are k or more elements on the stack, and suppose this quantity is more than the number of elements on the stack, then you will pop out these many elements, and that is why the potential of the new instance is this. Not difficult to verify. I hope you are getting it. Otherwise, please think about it offline. For the interest of time, let us proceed. So now you apply the formula for obtaining the amortized cost of multi-pop. Substitute the values. You know that the multi-pop actual cost is this, minimum of this. This is the actual cost for Ci, plus substitute the value of this function, that is what you are obtaining here, minus value of this is this. If you look at this, these two are getting cancelled, similarly these two are getting cancelled, and hence you are obtaining the amortized cost of multi-pop also as 0. And and thus the total amortized cost of performing n stack operations in the worst case is actually 2n, and which is in the order of n. So that is the total amortized cost of a sequence of n operations, and hence the amortized cost of push pop and multi pop is order of 1, you can say, and actually we obtain these individually as 2, 0 and 0, which is order of 1 in every case. And with this we are finishing this lecture. So today we discussed about the potential method for doing amortized analysis, which is basically an accounting method, and here we account or maintain the total cumulative credit as the potential of the data structure instance, and that is the only difference. And we derived a correctness criterion which says at any point of time the potential is greater than or equal to the potential of the initial instance. And in the next class we shall apply the potential method for doing amortized analysis on the k-bit binary counter. With this we are finishing this lecture. Thank you.